So there are various cults among leftism. There is, of course, the cults of equality. There are the cults of diversity. But today we're going to focus on the cult of inclusivity, because the civil service have got some news. The Scottish civil service is going to make everyone sign their emails off with their own pronouns, regardless of whether or not they want to, or have any that are different from the norm, let's say. Like, even if your pronouns are evident, doesn't matter.
I think you've really got a duty there to choose the most offensive pronouns that you can.
The right honourable, it's got to be it, surely. Just take the mickey. And then when they say you can't do that, well, are you saying my existence is invalid?
Surely there's some sort of anti-discrimination legislation you can employ there.
Yeah, so anyway, here's the story. Thousands of civil servants are to be encouraged to add pronouns to their email sign-off under plans for a transgender inclusive drive, despite backlash from staff. The Scottish Government is backing proposals that would ask its 8,000 workers to take the pronoun pledge, under which they would add terms reflecting their gender identity, such as she, her, he, him, on the signatures at the bottom of their work emails.
Oh, it's just college students, Callum. You're worrying about SJWs way too much.
Don't worry, they'll stay in the universities.
Yeah.
And of course, it's not just the let's say dictionary ones. There's also the made-up ones they added for God knows what reason. Some people who class themselves as non-binary prefer pronouns such as they, them, whilst others prefer the non-standard terms such as the.
Okay, but why would I care?
The Tumblr meme.
Yes, literally.
The Tumblr meme terms are now being said by the Scottish Government, you need to put those at the bottom of your emails. Otherwise, how do people know that we're a part of the cult? Yeah.
Amazing.
Supporters of the plan to normalise the inclusion of pronouns said that this would foster an open culture that is supportive of the LGBTI+ community. I really love how there's never any consistency these days about what the acronym is.
No.
It's always something different, no matter who's talking.
But yeah, I'm sure that this is definitely going to foster an open culture that's supportive of the LGBTI+ community. It's not going to make people deeply resentful that they're having this new religion forced upon them.
It's not obviously a
at
cult.
the price of their job. Yeah, exactly.
However, the plan has provoked opposition from civil servants. Didn't know there were any
Wow,
civil servants.
resentment already. Didn't take long, did it?
After an internal survey set up to gauge opinion provoked a row which left some workers in tears. The workers who are in
Very
tears.
inclusive.
The workers who are in tears here are the upper management who are upset. So almost 60% did not want to add their pronouns to their emails, the results showed. So 60% of the civil servants were like, no, not doing that, not interested.
And the upper management started crying.
Yeah. The survey set up by supporters of the pronoun pledge, what a phrase, found that only 17% of more than 3,000 staff at the government and its quangos who responded said they already used pronouns in the signatories. So,
This just sounds like the purity rings from the American Christians. Have you taken a pledge to, not have sex before marriage? Have you taken a pledge to use people's preferred pronouns? It's exactly the same.
I can see inclusivity rings being a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can as
they
well.
already wear the badges and whatnot, leftists.
Yeah, at some point they'll get the armbands as well.
So
Doubtless there'll be a goose-stepping pride march down the streets of Edinburgh.
Trina Buge, the director for Women's Scotland campaign group, raised a point in response to this. She's a TERF, so a normal person, and she raised a legal point in counter to this.
Are we really going to just call TERFs normal people?
Yeah.
They're not, though.
Well, they pretty much are.
They believe that women are being oppressed by patriarchy and have been since the dawn of time.
Yeah, but it's 2021.
And so
It's current year.
Their beliefs are basically identical to the misogynist beliefs that don't hold that.
They're in the camp of normal these days.
Right, okay.
So, in forging ahead with this or any associated coerced signing of a pledge, the Scottish Government would potentially be discriminating against a protected belief and also inviting sex discrimination. I love it. I really love that TERFism has become the protected belief in Britain. The idea that women are women. That's a protected belief in law. Just as same as, say, Christian or Islamic beliefs are protected, so is the phrase, women are women.
I mean, it's a coherent philosophical position.
Yeah, I just love how it's such unintended consequences, because it was Tony Blair's government that passed that.
Thank goodness it was considered worthy of discussion in a democratic society as well.
Thank you, Master.
Yeah.
Yeah. They continue here. The comments made by some staff left other workers in tears. Joe Griffin, a director...
Oh, to be a fly on the wall of those conversations.
What do you mean they don't want to say she, her at the end? Joe Griffin, a Director General of the Scottish Government, said, presumably he's the one in tears, he called for empathy on both sides and debate, and added, nobody in the workplace environment should have the fundamental aspect of their identity challenged. Cry, 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 cry,
Yeah,
cry.
but if they're people who literally are saying something that is just not, like, actually true, I'm sorry, you know, like, literally someone comes in and goes, look, you're going to have to refer to me as a dolphin because I'm literally a dolphin, and if you don't believe that I'm a dolphin, then I'm having my identity challenged. Like, well, I'm really sorry.
Do you not see the double think there as well? That he's saying to people who are normal, they don't identify as male, they just are male, and that's their life. They need to make sure that they make that there. And it's like, surely you're the one challenging their identity.
Yes.
Like what's the leftist term? Cis males and cis women.
Yeah.
Like, you're attacking their identity, challenging their identity by being like, which one are you?
Moreover,
You've
you're
gotta determine.
ascribing a new identity to them of cis, you know. I mean, I don't identify as a cis.
No one identifies as cis.
No, I'm a man. And that's
It's
it.
just nonsense. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a Scottish government spokeswoman said it is an individual's choice whether to include their pronouns in introductions and email signatures.
Well, I guess that's true.
It's a choice for now, isn't it? Anyway, this was featured on Woke Watch, which I'm really enjoying as a segment. So good on Andrew Doyle for setting this up on GB News.
Andrew Doyle, goodest boy.
Yeah, he said on here that it's obviously about signaling that you submit to the intersectional gender ideology. And also, obviously, they don't care about the response, even though 60% of even civil servants were like, oh, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
They're just going to do it anyway, aren't they? Which is why you find on Scottish governmental accounts or websites them talking in such a manner. So if we go to the next one here. This is Scottish Government, verified checkmark, their NHS here, tweeting that over 55,000 pregnant people
Oh,
in England and Scotland have had the coronavirus vaccine.
pregnant people.
Pregnant people. Kind of people. What do you need to get pregnant?
Birthing people.
Birthing people. Yeah. I don't know why. So it's obviously pregnant women, because that's how pregnancy works.
Oh my god, Callum's a turf.
But one of the things I always thought is, why don't they use the phrase pregnant mothers? Do they consider the word mother to be haram as well?
Of course, because some pregnant people will be fathers.
Nah.
By their logic, that's exactly why they can't do it.
I should have got it up. There was a court case about that. Someone took some woman who wants to be a man took that to court and was like, on the birth certificate, I want to be the father. And the British government just went, no.
That's nice. I'd like to be a millionaire, you know.
So that's not in law, but also not in reality, of course, because reality doesn't care about what the law thinks.
Yeah.
So there's that. I wanted to go to the next one here. This is someone responding to it, being very stunning and brave, saying thank you for using inclusive
Tara
language.
is still wearing a mask. Why Tara?
I'm sorry for the pile-on from bigots you're going to have to deal with. And as you mentioned, the Tara is still wearing a mask.
Yes.
Describes herself, she, her, of course. She's also the author of Red Moon Gang, an inclusive guide to periods, in which she talks about male periods.
Red Moon Gang.
Yeah. Hello, hello, fellow men.
I mean, that sounds like you know, misogynistic humor that teenagers would use.
Yeah.
The Red Moon Gang.
But one of the things I have to notice, and I saw some TERFs mentioning this, and it's a point I've never actually thought about because I don't hear the TERFs mentioning it a lot, but you notice how they do this more often for women than for men?
Yeah.
Like all this destruction of the language.
Sure, because men have already capitulated.
Well, I don't think it's that. When in the word men or men have X still seems to apply, and whenever they attack it, they don't get away with it. Like, we don't stand for it. It's just like, yeah, the female penis. Everyone just laughs and walks off because it's just so stupid. But when it comes to menstruation or birthing people,
Sure, but like
the government seems to be able to just do this, and I don't know. There's not the same kind of just obvious humoristic backlash.
Well, yeah, but there's actual resistance from, you know, actual women.
Sure, there is, but I don't see them trying it on the female penis, for example. I never see them trying this. I think they might actually be right on that, the TERFs on that point. But I do think it does seem to be mostly about deleting the term women, which is interesting.
Oh, yeah, but again, I think I put it down to the fact that men just don't defend the term man.
I think we just don't take this nonsense seriously.
Yeah, but
In the same way we won't want for increased prices on goods.
Sure, but at no point... I mean, it's probably because there's nothing prestigious about being in a male space.
Yeah, is that...
You know, do you want to go in the men's toilets? Not really.
Yeah. The men don't even want to be in there.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody does. Anyway.
What's interesting is no one told the website manager. So we go to the next one. You can see here, someone pointing out. On the website they're linking to, scroll down, it says women.
Oh dear.
Twice.
Pregnant women. How dare they? How dare they?
So I guess that will be teamed up, sure enough. But also there's also the cult of inclusivity rolling out new emojis, because of course pregnant men are men, and that makes total sense. So there's this new emoji. We hadn't had time to talk about it until now, so I thought I'd just mention it. It also just looks like he's either really fat and needs to go to the bathroom or something, or it's vol porn.
Yeah,
Which-
no, this looks like extreme cases of constipation. Like literally, if someone hasn't taken a dump for a month, that's the sort of face I'd expect them to have and be holding their belly in exactly that way.
Like guys just finished Thanksgiving or something.
The constipation emoji has arrived.
But you remember the
I mean, I knew we were missing something.
that's a way of recalling it, which we should do. So you remember the Scottish government saying it's an individual's choice as to whether they use their pronouns in their introductions to emails? Yeah, it always is until it isn't. And this is a great example, and I don't mention it enough because the guy who leaked this to us, I mean, all praise to him because this is the most extreme example in the UK, I think, which is a leak we got from the Royal Air Force, in which there was a new message to all force personnel in which they had to learn a set of new pronouns and make sure they use the correct ones in the right place. Were they normal or were they heck? Common pronouns include they, she, he, ze, per, them, her, him, her, per, and her, his, hers. Personnel are reminded of their obligation to promote total inclusivity. What the hell is total inclusivity? They also say total inclusivity is non-negotiable. Can we scroll down on this? Just show people. I'm not making this up.
This is for the Royal Air Force, right? And so if they want to be totally inclusive, if, say, a bunch of Chinese spies came over and said, hi, we'd like to join the Air Force, they're like, well, we have to be totally inclusive. So we would end up letting the enemies into the Air Force.
Yeah, total inclusivity would also mean accepting paedophilia as a sexuality for inclusiveness.
Well, it's very left-wing.
So there's that. Yeah, I mean, it's just like a nonsense term you'd expect Kim Il-sung to come up with. But in case you're wondering what it looks like, I mean, we have a visual representation an artist has made. We can go to the next one here. Presumably an artist's interpretation. This would never happen in real life, of course.
Oh, the faces on those two women. Oh, my goodness.
But then I wanted to talk about the British Army, because they have a diversity and inclusion campaign.
But sorry, before we go on, let's just go back to look at those two women.
Samoans.
Yeah, I can tell. But, like, just BTFO'd by a white male.
It's a woman. Do you know?
That's a woman.
So yeah, let's go for the British Army's diversity and inclusion campaign. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because it was really funny. You can see the downvotes there. So they are insistent that it's not about political correctness, and when you have to say that, you've lost.
Yeah.
So let's go for the first clip.
This isn't about political correctness. It is an operational necessity and morally the right thing to do. Everyone has their part to play to ensure the Army continues to be a high-performing, inclusive team. We need to work together, breaking down barriers that prevent people from giving us their best. Every member of our team must know they are valued and accepted, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or sexual orientation.
Don't bring it up.
I'm sorry, but the Army, maybe you're trying, but you guys have no idea what you're talking about, and it looks so stupid and so obvious. But you know what's funny about this ad in particular is not only that they have to be like, this isn't about political correctness, when it obviously is. It's the fact that they, the second part of this just looks like a threat. They tell you that racism has no place in society with images of a tank rolling around. Let's play it.
Racism, sexism, and discrimination of any kind will not be tolerated.
Well, if
There
the
is
army
no
say
place
so.
here for those who stand in the way
Tiananmen
of growing
Square,
our
you.
more
Yeah.
diverse team, and those who fail to live up to this expectation will be held to account.
Anyway, yeah, I just thought it was particularly funny. Like, we're going to Tiananmen Square you if you don't agree to total inclusivity. God bless the British Army. Like, good God, lads, what are you doing? Anyway, so this cult also leads to absurdity in civilian life. So if we go to the next one here, this is a court case that, well, a tribunal that's been finished now. So stop calling me grandma. It could break age bias laws. So this was a lady who was called grandma because she is a grandma, and she went to tribunal against her employer for calling her grandma, and she won. So, stop calling me grandma. It could break age bias rules. And Dobson sued her employer, a publishing company, after a colleague wrote a car review in which she was described as a grandmother. She was 62 at the time.
And an actual grandmother, right?
Yeah, Dobson complained that even though she had 3 grandchildren at that point, the reference had been a dig at my age and raised a laugh in the office. She resigned from the £50,000 a year role and brought legal proceedings against her publisher. A judge has now ruled that the review amounted to detrimental and less favourable treatment of Dobson because it drew attention to her age. So because they called her grandma, that was wrong treatment, even though she is.
She's 62.
But we're also criminalised from calling you a boomer anymore, so that's going to have to stop, isn't
Based.
it? I'm not going to try.
I knew this would come round into my favour eventually.
Yeah,
That's
so,
right? That's all right, chat. I'm watching you.
So if you
Prepare
thought
to receive illegal documents.
if you thought this was any means to stop any of this nonsense, of course it's not. Now we'll dig this whole deeper, won't we? So go to the next one. Reuters on here, in which they a UK watchdog demands that 40% of all boardrooms be women now.
Sorry, who are these people, and why should I care about their opinions?
But also for ethnic diversity, yes, that well-known ethnicity, women. Just the way it's written is so stupid. But the ultimate thing about all this is, of course, the Calvin Klein meme. I mean, this makes the point better than anyone could. And you can see this in Mixed Martial Arts forum where this is going about. Everyone's seen it. 1999, beautiful woman in bikini. That's similar to Calvin Klein. 2019, land whale in fur.
I mean, there couldn't be a better way of demonstrating how perverted the culture we live in has become than these signs. The first one, if we can go back up to the first one, right, what can we see? We can see an attractive woman who is aspirational. She is what we would describe as showing virtues. She is very fit, she's very healthy, she looks great in this bikini, and that's why Calvin Klein have chosen her, because she's looking amazing, and you're looking thinking, wow, if I get that bikini, maybe I'll look something like her. You won't, but that's just beside the point. And of course, the standards that this woman is upholding are very high. And if we go down to the bottom one, John, again, just the standards have been abolished. There are no standards. If you buy Calvin Klein, you'll look like this woman. I wonder how their sales are doing.
I don't have any Calvin Klein, thank God. Anyway, the lady in the second one actually defended herself at the time on Twitter, and I didn't know this, so I thought I'd just mention it, because the defense is also astounding. So let's go to the next link here. There's a tweet in there in which there's a bunch of tweets from women who are like, I'm not buying Calvin Klein then.
I don't want to look like that, yeah.
So the lady defended herself by saying, I shouldn't have to defend my existence. No one should, especially simply based on size. You should have to defend your existence in a poster about beauty based on size, because obese land whale is not the beauty standard that anyone wants to attain.
Well, I mean, it's a very niche audience, you know. I mean, I'm sure Calvin
niche
Klein.
Fetish.
Yeah, Calvin Klein will have their new foot advertisements.
I shouldn't have to justify my feet.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so barbaric and laughable that when I see people attempt to make an example of me, I only pity them, and the people curse to share the same oxygen as them. Nah, it's not about her, obviously. It's about the cult of inclusivity. We must be more inclusive, therefore we need land whales on the models of Calvin Klein.
But the Calvin Klein one proves the point that inclusivity means the abolition of standards.
Yes.
That's what it means.
It is getting rid of what's proper and replacing it with what is improper.
Yes.
No standards whatsoever. But I thought we'd just end this with a quick mention of the cult of diversity, the other sector of the chaos gods of the left. So it's just with Cori Bush, because she tweeted something I found incredibly funny. So it's an image of bipartisan infrastructure group, and it's a bunch of Republicans and some Dems who have got together and said they're going to sign a bill. I don't know anything about the bill. I don't care. What's interesting is Cori's response here, member of the squad, black lady. Is this the bipartisan infrastructure group or the audience at Kid Rock concert? #negotiations so white. The problem with the bipartisan support is that they're all white.
I mean, my problem is that it's got Mitt Romney on it.
Yeah.
Like, and various other people who are awful.
But that's not what's important at all.
Yeah, I mean...
It's Corey Yusuf over here, who's like, Mitt Romney, white. Lindsey Graham, white. That's the real problem.
Yeah.
And she just does this openly, and I can't get over how this is accepted in the left, but... That's
sorry that we're not racist, Corey.
Anyway,
what to say.
There's the cult of the left.
If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.